Thank you for joining me on my YouTube channel. Please subscribe and hit the bell so that you can get updates. This is a very important subject that I'm going to share with you that is some research I recently did. I've not seen this on any internet site or YouTube channel. Perhaps someone has thought of this. But I began to look and consider the history of past U.S. presidents to see if there were any what we call parallels of history that could repeat themselves in the year 2024. Many people believe that President Trump could run for office again in 2024. Now, that's yet to be seen. But I'm going to show you an amazing historic parallel that could indicate the possibility of that. Let me say up front, and I want to make this very clear, this is not a word from the Lord. Number two, I am not making some kind of a prophetic projection or prediction. This is simply a possible pattern of history. And you only know if that pattern is fulfilled when the time comes to see if it does repeat itself. Now, I'm going to hold up these notes because I want to get this exact. We put these out very quickly, these videos, so we don't always have the time to edit and take a week to edit the way some people do. We just give you the information. There have been 46 presidents, 45 different men that have served. There are 21 presidents that have actually served 2 terms. Roosevelt had served 3 and died in his 4th term. Only one has served, lost the election, and returned. And let me say that again. In the history of U.S. presidents, only one man served 4 years, lost 4 years to another man, and then returned 4 years after that and served a 2nd term. His name was Grover Cleveland. Grover Cleveland was elected as the 22nd president, lost the election, but was reelected to be the 24th president of the United States. The first time he was elected was in March the 4th, 1885 through 1889. He lost the election and was reelected 4 years later, March the 4th, 1893 through March the 4th, 1897. Now, let me give you a little bit of the history of Grover Cleveland and show you how strange it is parallel to President Donald Trump. First of all, Grover Cleveland was a Presbyterian minister, and of course he was Presbyterian. His religion was Presbyterian. He was raised in New York. He was known to focus on task and get things done. He was married to a wife that was 27 years younger than him. He did not like the government handing out free money. He believed people should work and tried to provide as many jobs as possible. He vetoed spending bills that he thought were full of fraudulent stuff. And he won the popular vote but lost the Electoral College to a man named Benjamin Harrison. Now, what was it like the 4 years that Grover Cleveland was out of office before he was reelected? The answer is very interesting. In 4 years, by 1892, the nation was in a severe economic depression. There were foreclosures, there was high unemployment, and actually he dealt with the Treasury and was printing money. He's one of the first presidents that the deficit back then, or the spending, was $1 billion, which I wish it was that way today. It's trillions now, but back then that was very high. He also dealt a lot with silver and gold reserves. And of course now, if you pay attention to what's taking place, there's warning of hyperinflation, inflation, deflation. Right now, foreclosures, unemployment is high. People won't work, actually. The Treasury is being dealt with. There's a lot of talk about raising interest rates. So all this, again, is parallel to Benjamin Harrison, who was the man that took office for 4 years before Grover Cleveland was reelected. So how does Grover Cleveland and President Donald Trump, what are their parallels? All right, Trump is a Presbyterian like Cleveland. Trump was from New York, just like Grover Cleveland. Trump was known for getting things done and being extremely focused on a particular project the way Grover Cleveland was. Trump is 24 years older than his wife, Melania, and Cleveland was 27 years. So they both married younger wives. So that's an important parallel there. Trump wanted people to work and not throw money just from the government the way that Grover Cleveland was. Grover Cleveland did. Trump would turn down certain spending bills. Now, this is very insignificant. It's just a point of interest. But you have the name Donald, Donald, and you have Grover, Grover, they both have 6 letters in their first name. And again, that's very insignificant because there's millions or billions of people that have 6 letters in their name, but that's only for a point of interest. So Biden would be compared to Benjamin Harrison, who took 4 years. And are there possible parallels between President Biden and Benjamin Harrison, who served the 4 years between the gap of Grover Cleveland being reelected a second term? And during Harrison, the federal budget exploded. He was the first president to exceed $1 billion. And the federal budget, with the printing of money, has totally off the chain exploded. Here's the interesting. Biden has talked about adding Washington, D.C. and Puerto Rico as two additional states. Harrison added 6 states to the United States while he was president. And the other side feared that he was adding those states just to get votes for his party. Same thing is happening today. Harrison signed the Sherman Antitrust Act to prevent monopolies from buying from companies. Harrison was called, now this is very funny to me, Harrison was called the human iceberg, that he had a really stiff, strange personality. And people talk about the gaffes that President Biden makes, etc. That may be a strange parallel there, we're not sure. Harrison fought a law that would hinder China's trade or prevent China from doing certain trade deals. He hindered it. In other words, he was pro-China. I don't need to say anything about that. So the question is this: could history repeat itself the way that it did with Grover Cleveland, elected for 4 years, left office 4 years by a man who won the election, and then returned 4 years later to serve as president of the United States for a second term? If Trump returns in 2024, if he would run and win, little tongue twister there, he would be only the second president in U.S. history to be able to perform that or to do that. Now, once again, we know that history does repeat itself. For those of you that will remember, if you have followed our ministry that long, the time frame of the year 2000 and the election of 2000 between Al Gore and George W. Bush, you'll remember me talking about the parallels in history in the 1800s of a man who ran for president that had the same exact parallels of George W. Bush. If you would like for me to share that on a YouTube video, it's very interesting. Just comment below and I'll be glad at some point to share that with you, because a lot of you know that one of the things we do is teach prophetic cycles of history and how they repeat themselves. Now, speaking of history repeating itself, this book, The American Apocalyptic Reset, is always available for you by contacting our office. It is not in any bookstore anywhere. It's not on Amazon or anything, only through our ministry. And you talk about studying parallels of history and how they're being repeated today, this book will give you the information so you can order it from our ministry. Special advertisement is coming up. We hope you watch it. And always subscribe to the Perry Stone YouTube channel if you're not subscribed. And don't forget, perrystone.org is our regular page that we have. And we also have Perry Stone Ministries, and you have to put ministries in their Facebook page, of which we update every morning, usually every morning, updates for you who follow us that way as well. So be sure and stay in touch with us with social media, and I hope to see you sometime in one of our local regional meetings in the future. Thank you. Please give me your undivided attention. Many months ago, I began to hear secular economists announce a new global reset was coming. That's when I heard this phrase in my spirit: the American Apocalyptic Reset. For several weeks, I woke up early and began receiving a series of stunning prophetic downloads that I penned and now have placed them all in my brand new prophetic book, America's Apocalyptic Reset. This book is a must-read for all Christians, for all of those who love Bible prophecy, for conservative Americans and American patriots. The 19 chapters go extremely deep into exposing the agenda now being secretly plotted and to be publicly forced upon us, the American people, and how we can counter it. I discovered some very stunning ancient prophetic parallels and patterns, some that go back 4,000 years, that are repeating themselves in the United States right now. I deal with America's great Babel reset and the planned persecution of Christians, America's self-curse that will eventually bring judgment upon the nation, the coming Jezebel clash, the woman who will be president, how she would react and wisely resist corrupt governments. I reveal the unique Silicon Valley parallels and also go into the plans to bankrupt, then reset America economically. Also, I talk about how to function when the church must go underground. I received a very unique revelation concerning President Trump and a pattern that's found in history. There's a chapter also that I deal with how did the prophets get it wrong, and so much more. Ladies and gentlemen, this is probably the most significant prophetic book in the history of my ministry, especially in the time that we're in. But that's not all. I'm also including my most recent inside information prophetic briefing on 2 audio CDs. It's 2 hours in length, and I will release detailed information that I cannot, and I want you to hear me, I cannot nor will I share this on social media or on television, as absolutely in the climate that we're now in, a lot of this information would be targeted for being blocked and banned if it was made public and not done in this private setting that we're doing it in. These 2 hours contain biblical, political, national, and international revelation and information that I am sure that many of you have not been aware of. It is for truth lovers only. I want you to order right now this prophetic resource package, my brand new book, The Apocalyptic Reset, and the 2-hour prophetic CDs by going online at perrystone.org or calling 1-888-21-BREAD, or write me at Perry Stone, P.O. Box 3595, Cleveland, Tennessee 37320. Now, we're making this available for your donation of $35 or more, and you can request the offer APR-140. That's APR-140. I'm going to unmask the radical globalists and individuals who have set out to oppose and silence Christians, silence patriots, and shut the mouth of conservatives, and we will show you in the book what we can do when we unite together. We are looking forward to getting this into your hands.